United States owes a debt to many of those families that their family members never got in a war, that their family members never got a thank you. Even those Mexicanos that were not even made citizens that die overseas never got an American flag to say, thank you for your sacrifice. I was never taught about school about this. They never told me that Chicanos went and fought. They didn't tell me that Chicanos went and liberated other other camps throughout Europe. No one told me that. And when I heard firsthand that these guys were 19, 20 years old, walking into these death camps, it changed their life forever. Imagine walking into a place where all you see is death. You were used to be a young man, but then you became an old man just through those experiences that you just went through. Aguilar. Acronym as an artist, it's Balam, which is Jaguar. I painted this mural. It's called Among Heroes. I didn't want to name it anything else other than that, because to me, these men are heroes. So the people that I met, how this went about, it was me being among them, sharing their story to me. You know, I met people from World War II, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, the Afghanistan War, the first Iraq War, the second Iraq War, and in between conflicts that had happened. So this mural to me means a lot. It's a gift to my community. It's a gift for me to them and for them to see that sacrifices have to be made for people to be able to move forward. There are losses. There's always going to be losses. There's always collateral damage. But once you're willing to be past that point, you will see that at the end, everything matters. I grew up in Mexico. I'm from Michoacan. I was born in Michoacan. Lived in Veracruz, lived in the DF, and then from Michoacan ended up here in Southern California. It was rough. Grew up with a dad. We come from a broken family. Mom always worked. Me and my brother was running around the streets. And you know, I was a very angry kid for a very long time. And I think I'm still that kid that's still angry, but I turned my angriness into art, and it has helped me cope with that anger that I have. I knew, you know, I went to school with people of different colors, but then as I grew up and feeling all the prejudice that I got towards me from different groups, and I still, you know, I don't dislike nobody. That's why my art is out there for the public, for everybody to enjoy. But it was rough. But thanks to art, thanks to the art programs, thanks to meeting street artists, people that I saw on the street that I didn't even knew that were just painting out there. That's how I transfer my anger into art. And I still think I'm gonna be continuing to do that. A lot of people don't believe in the art, especially outdoor arts. See, it would have been very easy for me to paint this on somebody's wall inside and then nobody to see it. But that's not the artist that I am. I always believe that a good artist, a good muralist should share his art with everybody. What good does it do to me inside my house when only I can see it, or only he can see it because he bought it? So I think a little bit more on that sense of not being naive with what I have, because people have given me so much. I have to give back to fulfill my need, that I can go to sleep and say, you know what? I did something good for my community, and therefore I'm here. Yeah, there's a B-17 on top of me, some Hellcats, the B-17. They're engaged in a dogfight with the Japanese. There's also a group of German airplanes bombing a city next to some family like fleeing away. Soldiers in the jungles. After you got the Battle of Iwo Jima with the raising of the flag, I know for a fact that Mr. Fermin Rios was one of the soldiers there when they were raising out the flag. He got shot in the leg, so he didn't make it all the way to the top of the hill. But he does remember the man that went out there carrying the American flag to plant it on that island. You gotta remember, this island is just a volcanic island. There's nothing but sand, volcanic sand, and nothing else, and shrubs. So you can imagine like being shot at and then there's nowhere to hide. And you're running, you're sinking in sand. Plus you gotta be able to carry all the equipment that you have, your guns, and being shot at. Him, other people that went to the Pacific and fought with the Japanese, people that died over there. So this is just, this piece of artwork, this mural itself, not only represents World War II, but it's art that speaks to you. It speaks to that community. It speaks about the struggle that these people went to. You know, seeing this man, these older people, you know, and their last years of life, coming to me and sharing and showing me their tattoos and say, you know what, Carlos, I was this age when I was a prisoner of war, or when I was just because I was Jewish, I am tagged by this. I met at least 7 of them right here with their tattoos, not at the same time, but at different periods of me painting this mural. And they had their tattoos and their experience. So that's what war does. It's ugly. Nobody wins in war. There's never been a war that everybody was happy about it. You know, families die, kids die, brothers, sisters, grandfathers, uncles. Nobody benefits from it. And to see this men that were in places like the Pacific, like Mr. Richard Rodriguez, like Mr. Andrade right here, Mr. Victor, he was out there in the Ardennes forest and somewhere in Belgium, you know, being attacked by the Germans and talking about how cold it was, that how much it bothered them, and how horrible it was. So, you know, every time I see an image of World War II, every time I see a photograph, I see this man. I see this man that came and talked to me, that shook their hand to me. And it just brings everything together. You know, it's like, I'm not watching a documentary about World War II. I'm hearing it firsthand by the people that went there and that suffer. You know, you can't tell somebody how it feels to be burned if you've never been burned yourself. If you ever literally have put your hand inside a fire, you know, and burn your hand, be like, you know what? It throbs, your skin falls off. There is no feeling to describe it unless you have felt it yourself. But if you don't understand, so to me, every image that is depicted here of war is their narrative of what they went through. All this stuff that I speak to you about, I had to research it myself. I was never taught about school about this. They never told me that Chicanos went and fought. They didn't tell me that Chicanos went and liberated other other camps throughout Europe. No one told me that. And when I heard firsthand that these guys were 19, 20 years old, walking into these death camps, it changed their life forever. Imagine walking into a place where all you see is death, piles and piles of dead people, babies, women, running corpses, walking dead, people skinny. It changes. You know, you were used to be a young man, but then you became an old man just through those experiences that you just went through. I cannot imagine that, because I spoke to some of these men, and the same thing was, it changed my life, Carlos. There I was, a naive young soldier, Then we walk into these concentration camps where people are literally dying at our feet, begging for food. Think of that. So this war, World War II, was a stepping stone for the Chicano and the Mexicano to come back to this country and demand their rights, even though that didn't happen after the Civil War, after the Civil Rights Movement. But we, for a long time, we were forgotten in the books, and we still are being forgotten in books, unless stories are being told and are being put together by people like you that go out there and seek the story and look for the individuals that make the history happen. So it's something big to take in, because we've been present in most of the conflicts that the United States have fought, and that we've been present there. And young men like yourself have died in places they never heard of before. So, I don't glorify war. I don't stand for war. I despise war. But it takes a certain amount of person, a certain amount of individuals to go out there and be like, you know what, wait, let me put my life in danger so you can be a happy man and fulfill your life with your family while I'm there on the battle lines. So this mural is not to condemn. It's not to condemn this man that went to war or to glorify war. It's just to remember the faces that went to war, the people that went to war. These young men that died in places that they never heard of before. And for them to come back to a country that didn't like them because of the color of their skin, and that say, you know what, your son cannot go to this school, therefore, I am better for you. No. This man set the stepping stone for people like you and I to be in positions where we are today. They grew up in a very segregated society. You got to think of Santana was the first, Orange County, especially Santana, was the first place where desegregation of schools happened through the Mendez and Westminster case. Aside from that, it gave way to the whole movement of desegregation of schools throughout the South and throughout the whole country because of that movement. And the contribution to the Mexican American done to World War II is the United States owes a debt to many of those families that their family members never got in a war, that their family members never got a thank you. Even those Mexicanos that were not even made citizens that die overseas never got an American flag to say, thank you for your sacrifice. Instead, they got the boot. And it's a shame, because to this day, some veterans are still getting the boot. We gave so much that they forgot that we gave that much. Does that make sense? In every small neighborhood, whether it be from Los Angeles, El Paso, Phoenix, New Mexico, Arizona, San Diego, Tijuana, they win. Welcome to the city of Santana. Come out here, come check out the art. There's a lot of great artwork out here. There's a lot of great artists out here. Stop by here, stop by downtown Santana, see the artwork, take it in, see the city for what it is. It's history. There's a lot of history here. A lot of history by the Mexicanos, by Mexican Americans, and by everybody that made the city what it is today. So everybody's welcome. The city's changing, and what I want is for our raza, for the young kids, my nephews, his nephews, his kids, his nephews, to be part of that forward movement. To be part of that. If not, they're gonna be left behind and say, you know what? Where was I when the whole movement happened? That's why it's important for people that are in power, that got master's degrees, that got degrees from their bachelor's degree, their doctor's degree, to come out to the community and make an impact where it really needs it, which is in the inner city where kids need to be led by example. Not just, hey, oh, you're in the school and then you walk away and go home and forget about it. No, you gotta go and be like, hey, come here. Look, te voy a enseñar. That's what took me to be what I am. If not, I would have been another number in the system. And I would not be here speaking to you. So it's important to let the youth know, to feel proud of what they are and where they come from. To not let nobody tell them, you can't do this because you come from this house, or you can't do this because you dress a certain way, or you know what, you can't do this because you don't have money for shoes. Pride on themselves. No matter where they come from, to feel proud to be Mexicanos, to be Mexican Americans, because we come from our long line of warriors and our long line of thinkers, of individuals that push forward change. And when we change things, we are in power, and people don't want us to be in power. And once again, thank you guys for taking the time to acknowledge my work, acknowledge what I have done here, and acknowledge the mural. And on behalf of all these men and the families of all these men that I painted behind me, 1,000 thank you to you guys. Peace be with you guys.